Welcome to video number 4. Hopefully you've been enjoying following along. In the last video, we were able to create some walls, add a floor, and now we're ready to start working on maybe some interior walls and probably some doors and windows. So let's get started. All right, we've got an interior wall. If we look at the information that Project Lead the Way has provided, all I see is that I want an interior partition wall creating 2 separate rooms. So let's talk about how to put in a basic interior wall. We have to have a door between the inside rooms. We have to have an exterior door, and looks like we need 2 windows, minimum of 1 in each room. So let's get started. So I'm going to start or go back to my first floor plan view, and I want to add in an interior wall. So again, I'm going to go back up to the architecture menu, select wall, and I am going to, again, check properties because I don't want an exterior wall on the inside of my house or my shed. So I'm going to scroll down, and I happen to find that there are, again, some interior walls available to us. I'm going to suggest we use the 4 1/2 inch thick partition. So let's select that, and let's just look real quick at what's inside of that because we didn't create this, but let's see what's inside of here. So maybe we're getting used to looking at this a little bit, and it looks to me like we have an interior gypsum wall board, a 1/2 inch on one side, a 1/2 inch of another side, and we have what looks to be a 2x4 stud. And as far as I'm concerned, that'll work for our interior wall. So again, I have the option to control the location line on my cursor. I'm going to leave it wall center line. As we don't have specific sizes of rooms, I am not worried too much about this right now. I also am going to look at the base constraint. It is also the same as the exterior walls in this case, which is the first floor. And then our top constraint. It is possible at a later date we might want to maybe have vaulted ceilings or something like that. But maybe we want to just, again, limit this to be the same height as the exterior walls, which means I want to constrain to the ceiling level. Again, maybe at a different situation, you might want to leave it unconstrained or unconnected and then just put in a specific height. But for the project we're working on, I like to try to fully constrain things as much as possible. So when we're looking to draw this wall, we have to make a decision. Are we going to go like straight across this way? Are we going to go straight across horizontally? Are we going to put a little L-shaped wall in here? If we were to follow along with the example, it looks like there's the midpoint of that wall, and I'm just going to start there. I'm going to drag a wall out, and let's leave it like that. Now I'm going to hit escape. You'll notice when I start in the middle of the wall, and that helps create a nice trim of the intersection here. And maybe I just want to go to the midpoint of this wall as well. I'm going to bring this out until it meets on this wall, and I'm going to left click there. And now we have 2 walls that don't have a perfect corner. So there's a couple ways I can deal with this. One way is I can select this long wall, and I have a grip here. And I can left click and drag that back to the end point of the other wall. And that will usually get me where I need to be. Another way that I should be able to handle things is if I go to modify. We haven't been up here by itself before. We've been in the modify while we've been drawing things, but there is a trim / extend to corner option. And this is quite handy. As you can see in the animation, it will either extend walls together till they meet, or like in this case, it will trim those 2 walls up so we have a nice clean corner. So again, different ways to do things. And just like that, voila, we have an interior partition wall. All right, we can see here that it is the same height as the exterior walls. Perfectamundo. And since I did something important, I'm going to do a Control S and save. Now we're ready to put in some doors and windows. So I went back to my first floor plan. Again, you could also come over to the project browser and do that. But if the tab's already open, it's pretty easy to navigate through. And I am going to go to the architecture menu, and this time I'm going to grab door. We haven't looked at door before, so all I'm going to do is left click on door, and boom. Again, we got a little bit of a different menu toolbar so that are open, but we still have properties. And I don't know how much you know about doors, but think about the fact that there are lots of companies that make them, and therefore a lot of employees. And so there are a lot of options out there. So the default loaded styles in here, we have closet doors. Well, that doesn't sound like a good exterior door. I guess I could put that on the inside. We have a single raised panel with side lights. That might be an okay exterior door. I have a single flush. That could be an interior or an exterior door. And I have a double glass. If we look very quickly at our example drawing, it appears to me that we have a single door on the inside, and it looks like we may have a double door on the outside. Okay, so again, we're not looking to go crazy here. One of the great things about this software is if I get something in the approximate location that is the approximate size of what I'm looking to use, it would be very easy at a later date to come in and modify it. So I'm going to use the single flush on the inside, and you'll see that there are two different heights. Traditionally, the 80-inch doors are used in residential applications, and the 84-inch doors are more commercial or public facilities. 30-inch wide door, that's a 2-foot 6-inch wide door. That's pretty decent. Whenever possible, I usually like to put in a 36-inch wide door. First off, it helps with ADA accessibility. It also makes it easier to get things in and out of rooms. So usually, whenever possible, entrance doors into rooms or the exterior of the home should probably be a 36-inch wide door. We're going to use a 36 by 80 here. And I have to decide where to put this door. Okay, a lot of people want to put them in the middle of walls, and that's generally not recommended. If anything, you maybe want to put them up against a wall on the inside or the outside. And you can see as I toggle my cursor back and forth, Revit's going to let me put this wall almost in any, put this door in any wall that we see here. So maybe I want to put this, I think I'm going to put this door right here, but I can't seem to get it to, I like the door location here, so it'll open up against the wall, but I don't have that option on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and left click and place that door. Let's zoom in and take a look at a couple things. So I hit escape a couple times, so I'm out of the door command, and this door is no longer selected. Item number one is down here in this corner. Usually doors need some framing to frame the opening. So we've got some dimensional lumber in there. Every once in a while I see people doing something like this, or worst case scenario, something like this. And that's probably not going to happen in the real world. So get in the habit of leaving 2 inches or so on the edge of a door for the door frame. There's some trim around there. And again, we're not worried too much about the exact location of this door right now. Although, if we were to zoom out here, you can see we've got the ability to look. Maybe I want to make this door exactly 2 feet over. And so I do have the ability to do that. And I can certainly then make those dimensions visible and lock them down if that's what I wanted to do. Other thing that I have control over, and I'm just going to delete this dimension because it's going to be in our way, is I can select this door, and aside from those dimensions I have access to, I also have these double arrows. And you can see as I move them or click on those arrows, it's changing how that door, what they call the hinge location and the swing. So I can have the door swing in, the door open up. I can have it also hinge into different locations. I'm going to leave something like that. And again, usually in residential applications, doors open into rooms. It's kind of welcoming. Same thing, think about your front door at home. It probably opens up into your house, your home. Whereas if you look at a commercial or a public facility, most of the time, because of the higher capacity for people, those exterior doors or those doors inside tend to open out of a space just in case of an evacuation or helping people egress or leave the building. So I've got a door in right now. Let's just go take a look at the 3D view because that's could be pretty cool. Look at that. We put the door in. We've got some area in the wall above the door. The door's down on the floor. Looks like that door's in a good location. I'm going to do a Control S and save. I also want to put an exterior door in. So again, I'm going to go to door and go to my properties, and I think I'm going to do this double glass 68 by 80. And again, only because we're looking to put in a double door like the example. Maybe glass isn't the best option, but I get a double door out of this. So I'm just going to put this in the wall, and Revit will generally kind of default. It will try to help you. Oh, so that's over here. Is it here? Where we're getting like the center of a wall. It wants to help you put a door in the center of a wall, and it will kind of lock into that even position. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and left click and put that in the middle of the wall. And just for comparison purposes, let's look at our example. And here it's showing the doors opening out. So I guess I will change this so the doors open out. And I'm just going to move that dimension so it's not in the way of my doors. And I'm going to do another Control S. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D. Look at that. You can actually even see through the glass in that door. Okay, pretty nifty, pretty nifty. All right, we put in some doors. Now it's time to do some windows. So again, these go in pretty quick. And I guess maybe I should highlight this option is at any point in time, if we decided we wanted a different door in a location, you notice that the dimensions did not change, but the door has. So it's as easy as selecting and changing the properties of that item so it reflects what we want to be there. So as we're kind of moving through here, feel free to put in whatever you want as long as it meets the criteria for this particular activity. So I want to put in some windows. And again, I've gone into window and I want to look at the properties. What is already in here? At a later date, we'll talk about the plethora of options, the many, many options that you have besides what is just loaded in this particular file. Keep in mind, every example of a window or a door or a wall does make the file size of this project bigger. So the more stuff that you add in, if you don't clean the file, that file size will get larger. And if you do have limited space to store files, that could eventually cause issues. I think we're going to do a double hung. Okay, so I have an upper and lower sash, and they don't tell us the size, do they? I don't think they tell us the size. Let's go look. Not that one. We have two windows, no specific sizes. If we take a look, I don't know. Let's see. If that's 8 feet tall, I'd say that's maybe a 4 foot tall window, 3 to 4 foot tall. So we'll maybe try to keep it in that ballpark. So again, I've got a 36-inch wide by 48-inch tall window. Looks like there's also a 24 by 48. I'll go 24 by 48. This is kind of small here. All right, and I think it said we need one on the outside, or one in each room is what the specification was. So I am going to maybe just center it in this room here. And again, depending upon where I've got my cursor, I can have the window in or out. And until you left click, you don't really know what's supposed to be the inside or the outside of the window. Here, this window's been placed. You can see the double arrows are on the outside. If I was to flip it, the double arrows would be on the inside. Generally, the double arrows point or on the outside of an object. And if we take a look over here at the 3D example, whether or not you've ever paid attention to it, but the windows have two sashes. So there's an upper sash and a lower sash, and usually the upper sash is more forward or more towards the outside than the lower sash. So if I wasn't sure, if I understood Windows, if I didn't know about that double arrow, that would be a way for me to verify. And so I'm just going to go back and grab another window, and I'm going to use the same window, and I'm just going to put it, I guess, kind of in the middle of this wall. And just for giggles, now, if I was really worried about being an architect or a designer, I wouldn't just plop this window in. I'd probably want to make sure that it was aligned with the one across from it. If we look at here, it's 3. Oh, let's do this. It's 4'1". Maybe I would change this to 4. And then I look at this one, and I would want to make that one match, because there are certain people that would drive absolutely insane that they were not even. And I could certainly do the same thing on the other windows here, even though they're in 2 different rooms. Okay, so maybe if I was looking at keeping a 4-foot space from the wall, again, that's not very hard to do. I can certainly come in here still and move them around unless I dimension them and lock them down, but that got us to the requirements of our project. And hey, I'm going to go hit the save icon this time. Since I got Windows in, let's save. And I think that's probably a good place to stop for this particular video.